You want to stay hydrated, don't you?
Oh, I didn't know.
Right. It having reached the hour of 5:32, I am calling the November 23rd, 2021 Modesto City Council meeting to order and ask the city clerk to call the roll.
Councilmember Canoyer,
Here.
Councilmember Wright,
Here.
Councilmember Escudia-Brayton,
Here.
Councilmember Madrigal,
Here.
Councilmember Ricky,
Present.
Councilmember Zawacki,
Here.
Mayor Zawalin.
Here. Will everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by the invocation from Marvin Jacobo from City Ministry Network. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please pray with me. Lord, we give thanks, and I give thanks to you, and I thank you for the men and women who serve our city in leadership roles and for their families. I just think in seeing Jenny here, I put a special word out to you for her. May you restore her to health and keep her safe. Thank you for the privilege you've given us to have her be one of our servant leaders. Thank you for her. Pray that you'd please provide our leaders with reminders each day that of why they decided to dedicate their lives to public service and use that commitment to give them courage. And Lord, in this generation, it's so hard for some to be reminded of why they got in this business and this work. Give them peace when their work takes them away from their families, and it surely does. I ask that you'd give them wisdom beyond their expertise and give them ears to hear equally the voices of their constituents. Lord, at this time, I want to be reflective of the staff of our city. I thank you for them. We are so grateful for them. Those that line the edges of this room, that daily populate the spaces above, those that serve at sites all over our community. They have an important job keeping the services running as they should. Thank you for the ways you have gifted them to support us all so well. And Lord, I pray you would grant these individuals in this room and all of our community love, grace, strength, and encouragement. And during this season of Thanksgiving, we are so grateful for them. Provide them with the knowledge needed to approach each situation the best way. Our civil servants, Lord, agree with them or disagree with them. I thank you for each one of them. Lord, as always, I pray that these proceedings would be held in mutual civility and mutual respect. In your name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Just one observation I wanted to point out is I'm grateful for our officers in the back of the room for their eyes open, caring for us during the prayer. Appreciate you. Does the city clerk have any announcements?
No, Mayor.
Thank you. Do any of the council members have any conflicts of interest? Seeing none, will the city attorney report out on closed session?
Yes, Mayor. The council considered a few items today under closed session. It was anticipated litigation, existing litigation, and public employee appointment matters. No reportable action was taken.
All right, thank you. Next is acknowledgments and presentations, and we will open up with item 1, County COVID-19 update. And this is a presentation by Nick DeCousley from Supervisor Manny Graywell's office. And welcome, Nick.
Hi, thank you guys for having me so much, Councilmember, Mayor. Thank you guys once again for allowing us, the supervisor and the county, to give you guys all the updates regarding COVID-19. I'm Nick DeCousley. I'm his field representative, and I'll be reporting for him today. Last time we talked, I believe the mask mandate was still in place. It's now was lifted on November 15th because the cases dropped below 20 per 100,000. So the mask mandate is now over in Stanislaus County. But if we do get over, we are expecting a winter surge. That's according to our public health services agency. So if it does go above 20, then it will have to be reimposed again. But right now it is not. A few other highlight updates. Our cases and hospitalizations are moving in the right direction. but we continue to be concerned, like I said, about a possibility of a winter surge with Thanksgiving, Christmas, with people traveling and such. The hospitals report that non-COVID-19 related demand is higher than normal for this time of year. So in an effort to assure sufficient hospital capacity for all needs, it is important that we continue to take precautions to avoid a rise in COVID-19 cases as we enter the holiday season. There is an increased access to antibody treatment locally for those who are eligible. A national directory, it may not be completed, but it can be helpful, covid.infusioncenter.org. We urge all patients who have tested positive to talk with their personal health care provider about their symptoms and potential treatment. An oral antiviral medication is targeted for consideration at a November 30th FDA Advisory Committee meeting as well. This could be a new COVID-19 treatment tool available in the future for our healthcare system to use to prevent severe infection and hospitalization. If this receives authorization, we understand supply will be limited initially, so we don't have a lot of detail about that yet, but of course we're waiting for the FDA meeting on November 30th. In terms of cases and everything like that, we don't have an update since we are producing these monthly now instead of weekly, but like we said, it's going in the right direction. So that's all I have at this time.
Okay, great.
Any questions?
Thank you. Sure. Any questions from council members? Seeing none, any comments or questions from the public regarding this agenda item?
I had a quick question.
All right. Oh, I'm sorry. I missed you, Chris. Go ahead. Thank you.
Nick, thanks for joining us. My question is, you're doing these reports monthly now. I'm assuming that's just reports to us, right? Or is that the health department only doing the monthly?
So in terms of providing these, so I want to make that clear. So in terms of providing, we get usually sheets of information referring to each municipality in the Stanislaus County. And so our health services agency has been doing that. The supervisor in the county will still be providing every, I think it's 2 weeks we've been doing COVID updates. We will still be providing that. But in terms of getting these sheets of information that usually the supervisor has, and I think he's given them out to you before, those are just being produced monthly now. But all of the information, statistics, updates on cases, those are, I believe, updated weekly on our county site still. So I believe it's every Tuesday they are still updated by our health services agencies.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that we're going to be able to recognize if there is another wave that comes and we have to deal with it.
Of course.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. And any comments from the public? I see one hand raised, and that's Frank Plouffe, and it's online. I'm not sure if it's regarding this item or another item.
It's other items during the public comment period.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Any comments from council members? My only comment is, as we were speaking about when Supervisor Graywell or you or whoever will represent him is coming back, to double check the 2022 calendar, just to make sure that the dates get coordinated with Dana Sanchez, our interim clerks, and we have it on the agenda. And Manny's aware, or you are aware, and we are aware of who will be here, and give those updates, or if you cannot, that we know.
All right. Of course. Thank you. Happy Thanksgiving,
Okay,
everyone.
thank you so much. Take care. All right, item number 2, a proclamation proclaiming November 27th, 2021 through November 28th, 2021 as Small Business Saturday in the City of Modesto. And I will share the proclamation. Okay, now I see that Trish, you're here. Are you here to accept the proclamation? All right, great. I will read it, and then if there's any comments, that would be great. This is a proclamation proclaiming November 27th through 28th, 2021, Small Business Saturday. The City of Modesto celebrates our local small businesses and the contributions they make to our local economy and community. And according to the United States Small Business Administration, there are 31.7 million small businesses in the United States. They represent 99.7% of firms with paid employees, and they are responsible for 65.1% of net new jobs created from 2000 to 2019. And 88% of U.S. consumers feel a personal commitment to support small businesses in the wake of the pandemic. And 92% of small business owners have pivoted the way they do business to stay open during the pandemic. And the City of Modesto supports our local businesses that create jobs, boost our local economy, and preserve our communities. And advocacy groups, as well as public and private organizations across the country, have endorsed the Saturday after Thanksgiving as Small Business Saturday. Now, therefore, the Modesto City Council does hereby proclaim November 27th through 28, 2021, as Small Business Saturday and encourages the residents of our community to support small businesses and merchants on Small Business Saturday and throughout the year. And that is dated this day, 23rd day of November, 2021. So Trish, would you like to make a comment?
Sure, yes.
Sure.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. I'm Trish Christensen, President and CEO of the Modesto Chamber of Commerce. I am here happy to be representing the business community as a whole, the wonderful Modesto Chamber of Commerce members and Board of Directors. I'm happy to receive this on their behalf and personally would like to encourage our community as a whole as we kick off our shopping and spending season, whether you're getting out to the restaurants, the shops, or participating in entertainment, or doing all of the above from your home and your laptop, please consider investing your hard-earned dollars back into our great community. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. If you'll stay right there. Any questions from council members regarding this? Any comments from the public? Any comments from council members before we step down and we can share this with you? And Scotty, would you mind taking a picture for us? Thank you very much. Go right ahead. Councilmember Canoyer.
I just want to, I'm on. I just want to thank the Chamber for everything they do and how not just us as, officials or our community, but how much you really go out there and help the small businesses that are local. And I just want to thank you for that.
Thank you, Jen.
All right, thank you. All right, should we step down and share the proclamation? All right, we will move on to public comment period. Does anyone wish to speak on any item under public comment? And this is for items not on the council agenda. And each person has 3 minutes to speak. I see 2 blue cards here and a couple of people online at this point. So first, Edgar Garibay. Welcome.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Mayor, City Attorney, City Manager, and council members. My name is Edgar Garibay, and I am the Central Valley Programs Director for the Tuolumne River Trust. I've worked with some of you in the past on a lot of the different projects that are related to the Tuolumne River and the adjacent communities that we work alongside. So today I'm here to make a invitation to City Council. Over the last 3 months, we've been working closely with our Parks Department on a grant, All Children Thrive grant, and hoping to involve the community in the airport neighborhood. And next year, we'll be looking at it more broadly with the city, or city as a whole, but looking at it for park access or park access. So, but before we come back, we definitely need to have ongoing discussions with our Parks Department, who we've been working with, like I mentioned, over the past 3 months on a policy and how civically engaged youth can be. So what we're inviting you to next Thursday, Thursday the 2nd of November at 3:30 at George Rogers Park. We're gonna have a few youth that have been participating in this program with us, All Children Thrive, and some community members to a community meet and greet with our elected officials so that they get to know you personally. We'll also have food available at that. So I would like to extend the invitation if you are all able to make it. Again, you have the flyer in front of you, so we hope that you can join us for that. And like I said, we're continuing to work with the Parks Department to look at park access broadly and how youth in our community can be civically involved.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. That is on the calendar, I might add. Thank you so much. Next, we will hear from Ramon Rodriguez online.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and City Council. I am speaking on behalf of Alonso Nunes because on November 10th, he was arrested because over his warrant for not appearing in court. But that's not only the reason why. The day prior that he was, before he got arrested, Modesto police officers were stalking his family around the perimeter where they live. And also, I found it odd that a court system and the jail still didn't provide timely manner to have access to court, and that's the reason why he's arrested. But what I'm here for is demanding accountability for the 4 police officers that were involved in the excessive assault on Alonso Nunes, and why the police department didn't even do an investigation, or even did the same action like suspend him just like he did with Joseph Lamatia when he killed Trevor Seaver. This is sickening. He is an immigrant, a hardworking immigrant, and he's got caught up, but he's not at fault. He was being mistreated and abused by the system that was supposed to protect and serve. And as a private citizen, this is disgusting to let this happen. And I saw the video a couple of times that they violated various laws, committing felonies against Alonso Nunes. They need to be held accountable. They need to be fired from the force. They need to be charged, and they need to be convicted. Because to let these officers go around doing business, they're going to end up like another Joseph Lamatia on the force. And that'll be a really bad image for the police department. And also, he needs to have his charges dropped for resisting arrest and let him be free from jail because he cannot afford the bail, as well as economic compensation because he still has debt from the hospital bills, as well as posting bail and everything. Also can't afford $225,000 in bail, and that's a reality. Also, it's disgusting to say that these officers still allow him to force without any accountability. This is why we have Forward Together. This is why I spoke on it. And also, the day when he got arrested, he was about to get ready to go to court just to get a new court appearance date. So what I'm here for is I demand justice for Alonso Nunes, and that the 4 officers are involved in the assault of Alonso Nunes be fired, charged, and convicted of various felonies. And I hope Flanagan takes it seriously. Otherwise, she'd be mollycoddling these cops again, just like she did with Joseph Lamatia. And I hope she does it again this time for reals, because I'm sick of her letting this go. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Ron Deloach. Welcome.
Good evening, Mayor, City Councilman. I'd like to say, first of all, Jenny Canoia, we pray for you every day, and we hope you get better. I'm here to speak on behalf of putting affordable housing at the old Muni Golf Course. on Tuolumne. It's a 51-acre piece of property, and we'd like to see housing built there for not, when we mention affordable housing, the first thing everybody thinks of is, okay, they're gonna build a bunch of houses that look like on Sutter and down further by the Housing Authority. But we want to have some good-looking places for people that can't afford some of the units currently. We have a waiting list of 3 months for available apartments on the west side. We desperately need more housing, and we want to put people that are able to pay for affordable housing in housing that is not so run down. We have a lot of properties that are run down on the west side, but we need a facelift. We need new blood within West Modesto so that we can start off with people want to start off fresh. And what we also saw that with the 51 acres, we can have affordable housing and still do some of the other projects that everyone else wants to build. Like, we can leave a portion of it open. We can build a small recreational area. There was mention about the high school and building a football stadium there, or switching it so that the high school can play over at the old Modesto Nuts location after they move. There's a lot of different things, but affordable housing is one of the key factors in me standing here and a lot of others that want to come up here and speak. I know I don't have a lot more to say, but this is very important to the people of the West Side so that we can feel that we're more a part of this city than it takes for everyone to, we want everyone to see that we're interested in new housing. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have a question, Madam Mayor.
Yes.
First of all, thank you for coming to the City Council to talk to us about this just ever urgent issue of I don't dare to call it a crisis of the lack of affordable housing. Could you just tell us, on average, like say each week or so, or each month, how often do you get confronted or get approached by people who are searching for affordable housing, not just in West Modesto, but whether it's in West Modesto or anywhere?
Okay.
I'm asking you because
That's
I
a
know
good
you're a
question,
leader
Tony,
in West
because
Modesto.
when I often go up to the shelter, and there's families and retirees and others that live there that have wages. They actually have Social Security or retirement funds, but they can't afford to live anywhere. So their backup is to live at the shelter. You know, we need more housing so these people can get their lives back. You know, for whatever reason, they've lost control of where they live. We want to give them back control of where they live. I can draw up a list of 100 people that has money but can't afford to live. And if you can't afford to live in West Modesto, where are you going to live? You know, so we're almost in a dilemma to where what do we do with these people that want to start their lives again, but either have made some mistakes or I've talked to a number of seniors where their children have taken advantage of them and they're starting over. We can't retrain them. Retrain them to do what? To work for 1 or 2 years? We have to give them housing so that they don't have to live in a shelter constantly.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for your comments. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Next, I see Frank Plouffe.
Oh, thank you, Mayor,
Uh-huh.
City Council, and staff. Yeah, I got a Frank Plouffe, Modesto, longtime homeless and housing advocate. So I was going to do it in a different order, but I'm going to just start my second item to tag on to what the gentleman just said. He just spoke, which has to do with I'm not going to use the word affordable housing because that's fraught with issues. But I'm going to say that we need housing, and many have heard this before from me, for the lower tier. And I've broken that into 2 parts. One is getting people off the streets as soon as possible, if it's something temporary, and that we can purchase, set up, and get it available within a matter of weeks, not years. And the second is the type of housing that's a bridge housing, where people would progress from the street level housing into a bridge housing. Now, this is nothing new. I've been saying this for a long time. What I want to make is, so there's 4 different planning processes going on. The city is involved in updating the housing element. The county's involved in updating the housing element. The city is working on a housing plan, and the Shaw and the Seesaw are working on a housing plan. None of those plans, as far as I can tell, address this lower tier of housing that we desperately need to get people off the streets. And expanding the shelter is not an option. Not an option. And if anybody that reads the Valley Citizen, there was an article that just came out today. I encourage you all to read it. It will speak to that issue. So I would encourage somehow or another, we all get the same page on this housing. We don't need 4 different housing planning projects in the county, but they're all planning for permanent housing. We need stuff today, not a year, 2 years, 3 years. So pivoting to my first point, I was going to discuss is the downtown streets team. I think that is the greatest thing that's happened for the homeless population in the city, maybe in the state, in the country, I don't know. But it's an awesome project, and I commend the city for starting it and expanding it into Camp to Home. What I encourage next is the city work with the streets team and assess all the homeless people, determine the ones that can work, and from that build a plan, get the money, involve the community, and find employment of some type for these, whatever this number is that you come up with. We need to get better at managing. We have so much data, but we don't seem to mine it and use it for improving things. So I'm suggesting the data's there, get the data, get a number, and go after organizations that can employ these people. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone else wish to speak to an item under public comment? And this is for items not on the council agenda. All right, I see Emerson Drake.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, City Council members, ladies and gentlemen. I'm asking you tonight to pay more attention to the detail. It seems to me that we're not paying attention. You know, you decided just a meeting ago that you needed fewer meetings. Well, maybe that's right, because Councilwoman Escutia Braden said that there are these efficiencies. But we only get the efficiencies if you'll stop spending the money. But you refuse to do that. The last 3 meetings, there's not a single item on the consent calendar that any city council member vetted. It didn't go through a committee. It's all generated by staff. Here's one of my concerns. We decided to buy an ambulance, a standby ambulance for $313,000. Oh, we're so terrible on our record keeping But when we did a public record request, we asked the use law. You got to think it's signed. They keep track of the mileage, where it's used at. I was told there isn't one. I also asked for the maintenance log. Surely somebody, an organization like the fire department keeps meticulous records. When's it due its next oil change? Anything. What did we have to do to it? In the last 3 years, I was told nothing. There is no maintenance log. So, yet we need to spend $313,000, as the mayor said. Well, you know, when you need one now. But I don't know that they can tell us that we ever needed one. I'm guessing that we did, but there's not a single record. And you want to give them a new ambulance, and they're not even going to keep track when it needs an oil change, let alone when it's used? You talk to any hospital, they'll tell you that it's signed out, signed back in, the mileage is recorded. But that doesn't seem to matter. Doesn't seem to matter at all to the Modesto City Council. We just keep spending money. When you discuss coming or having a place for the homeless to park at night, thought it was a great idea, but by the time you put all the exceptions to it, you made them check in like they were wealthy. I mean, you try in every little detail. It reminded me of when the city uses their police department to go down and they use their license plate readers so they can ticket anybody that doesn't have everything up to date. Or when they do a stop somewhere where they'll make sure you have your insurance, you're up to date. I mean, all that's important, but we're talking about the people that have the least amount of money in the city, maybe in the county. There ought to be some way to make a break, or give them a break. And then we find out about Beard Brook Park. You're trying to swap it for some land with Gallo. Now, don't you think the public has a right to know or to have a conversation about this before you go through? You've already talked to people at the state level to get the okay, and then it comes back and the public doesn't know. They'll be surprised. I'm asking you to start vetting some of the things that are coming up. Be effective in your committee meetings. I don't think that's unreasonable. I apologize for using a few extra seconds of time. Thank you very much. Goodbye.
Thank you. Any other comments from the public? All right, thank you. Will the city clerk please read the consent items?
Yes, Mayor. Item 3, consider approving the minutes from the November 9th, 2021 council meeting. Item 4, consider final adoption of ordinance 3740-CS, amending section 5-5.103, 5-5.108, 5-5.109, 5-5.118 of Title 5, Chapter 5 of the Modesto Municipal Code relating to solid waste collection, and adding Title 5, Chapter 11 to reflect the new mandatory organic waste disposal reduction ordinance as required under State Senate Bill 1383. Item 5, consider approving a resolution continuing to authorize remote teleconference meetings pursuant to Assembly Bill 361. Item 6, consider approving the First Amendment to an agreement with Harris & Associates to provide engineering services for the city's assessment and community facilities districts, increasing the agreement amount by $205,000 from $45,000 to a new total of $250,000. Item 7, consider approving the First Amendment with Rolling F Credit Union for the intake of rental assistance applications to increase the agreement amount by $60,000 from $100,000 to a new total amount of $160,000. Item 8, consider accepting an informational report on the July and August 2021 grant applications and awards. Item 9, consider approving the addition of Central Valley Ag Grinding from Oakdale, California, and increase to the purchase orders for the furnishing of street sweeping, material receiving services, and citywide disposal services with Bertolotti Disposal from Modesto, California, Bertolotti Transfer and Recycling Center from Modesto, California, Gilton Solid Waste Management from Modesto, California, Gilton Resources Recovery from Modesto, California, and Fink Road Landfill from Crow's Landing, California by $550,000 for an estimated revised annual cost from $800,000 to $1,350,000, and authorizing the Director of Finance or her designee to add additional disposal sites if needed without exceeding the total revised combined amount of $6,200,000 over 5 years. Item 10, consider approving a First Amendment increasing the agreement amount with NorCal Fire Incorporated from Ripon, California for fire extinguisher inspection and maintenance services by $23,500 from $17,500 to a new total amount of $41,000 and an additional $71,715 over the term of the agreement for a new total amount not to exceed $159,215, and authorizing the finance director or her designee to add additional parts if needed without exceeding the estimated annual cost of $159,215. Item 11, consider approving the sole source purchase agreement with DC Frost and Associates from Walnut Creek, California to include wastewater process equipment parts for the Phase 2 tertiary treatment plant for an estimated annual amount of $39,578 and a total amount not to exceed $197,890 over 5 years, and authorizing the purchasing manager or her designee the ability to add parts based on the department's needs, ensuring the total amount does not exceed the authorized total. Item 12, consider approving the sole source purchase agreement with Trojan Technologies from Ontario, California for the procurement of ultraviolet UV lamps and parts for an estimated annual amount of $234,300 and a total amount not to exceed $1,171,500 over 5 years, and authorizing the purchasing manager or her designee the ability to add parts based on the department's needs, ensuring the total amount does not exceed the authorized total.
Move to approve all consent items.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Will the city clerk please do the roll call?
Councilmember Canoyer?
Yes.
Councilmember Wright?
Yes.
Councilmember Escudia-Brayton?
Aye.
Councilmember Madrigal?
Aye.
Councilmember Ricky?
Aye.
Councilmember Zalaki?
Aye.
Mayor Zawan?
Aye. The motion carries unanimously. Do any council members have any comments and reports? Councilmember Ricky?
Thanks, Mayor. Just feels really good to have the holidays coming back around. It was really just a blast to help kick off Modesto on Ice right here in downtown Modesto with Mayor Zwellen and Vice Mayor Escudia-Brayton. Had a really great time with my family, and I just really recommend for everybody, if you can, spend an afternoon or an evening down at Modesto on Ice. It's just a really special thing we have in our community, and it's just lots of fun. So I'd go down there for sure. Also, I wanted to give a special thanks out to Modesto Subaru for being the presenting sponsor. They're really making a difference, making a big events like this happen, and bringing lots of people downtown. It's just great. On a different subject, I want to just talk a little bit about blight and dumping in our community. It's been a real huge problem, but one of the things I'm concerned about, and I just want to communicate with my fellow council members here, is that I'm worried that our bulky item pickup rules are kind of part of the problem. When I look at the items that are left out in alleys based on the pictures, Tony will take pictures of people dumping stuff in his district. And when you look through the items that people are dumping, a lot of those items they're like prohibited, and you can't put them out in the bulky item pickup. And so I think that contributes to like our dumping problem. And so I think we need to kind of tinker with those rules a little bit. And I think we aren't going to eliminate the dumping problem, but we could probably reduce it a little bit. And I understand that we can't make it like a loophole for contractors to do a remodel and then just leave all the stuff out in the street for the city to come pick up. But I do think, for example, if we allowed household waste, less of it would end up on the streets. I also want to thank everybody that came to talk to us today about housing. Our lack of housing it's one of the main causes of our homeless epidemic that we're dealing with all the time. I get calls, begging for help with housing every week. And we just have to do better. We have to keep pushing forward to increase supply, especially on the lower end of the spectrum. Finally, it's Small Business Saturday's coming. I really appreciate Chamber of Commerce coming out and talking about it. 70% of the money you spend at locally owned businesses stay right here in town. Super important. So go out and support some local businesses this Saturday, or every day also. And also I just wanted to say Happy Thanksgiving, everybody, but especially to all the people in District 3.
All right, thank you. Jenny Knoyer?
Yes, I want to really thank everyone for their concerns and prayers. They've helped me over the last 3 years, and I really appreciate it. I did not attend the opening for the executives and for the people other than the regular people with invitation only for the eyes. I attended the ribbon cutting on Saturday, and it was well attended. And watching these little kids try to skate, it's ice skate, you know, their little feet are moving and they're going nowhere. So it's really, it was really good. And yes, please, you know, go down there and just watch them. If you don't have to skate, you can go down watching. It's very entertaining. Come downtown. You know, our small businesses need you, and they appreciate all that you do for them. And so, thank you very much.
Thank you. Vice Mayor Rosa Scudia-Brayton?
Thank you, Mayor. I also want to reiterate the fantastic opportunity that we all have to visit the downtown Modesto on ice. Like Jenny said, it is a wonderful opportunity to take your little ones. It's definitely a community event, and it could be a family staple or family tradition to start. So I encourage everyone to participate. And almost the eve of Thanksgiving, I just wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving, safe, prosperous day, and reflect back on this past year. I am thankful for having been elected public servant of Modesto and had the opportunity to be a servant to the city of Modesto and work with my colleagues, and we've accomplished much in this past year that we've been elected. Mayor, you haven't even had your full year, but you're nearing it. So I'm grateful and thankful for that opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Madrigal.
Thank you, Mayor. A couple of topics I wanted to cover. First of all, I share everybody's excitement about Modesto on Ice coming back for another year. It's something that was part of a vision a long time ago, and just to see it become a reality and continue in Modesto, in downtown, it's such a delight. I hope that's something that we can build upon more to create sort of a even bigger, you know, downtown holiday, winter holiday sort of experience, if you would, just keep adding to it. I wanted to ask staff if it's possible to get a report back or at one of the next council meetings regarding what funding is available to purchase video surveillance cameras regarding to try to combat illegal trash dumping in Modesto. I understand that we have a blight abatement advisory committee. I understand that they're meeting. They're going to be coming up with recommendations. But the reason I wanted to ask for a report back, just a refresher, if you will, on that specific topic, is because I get text messages with photos. I get questions asking, when are you guys going to put up video surveillance cameras? And my immediate response is, please report it on Go Modesto. If you send it to me, I'll report it on Go Modesto also. And I just do want to, at this moment, also show my appreciation to our city staff, work crews who respond very quickly to a lot of the Go Modesto reports that, for example, you know, I put up. I posted 4 yesterday, including a big pile of just black trash bags. Looks like somebody said, oh, I'm just going to dump them right here in West Modesto, and they're already gone today. Other things I know take more time, but I speak with constituents that, you know, they're informed, just like we all are, regarding, for example, the American Rescue Plan funding. You know, sometimes they call it, you know, what's up with that Biden stimulus money? Can't you guys use some of that to buy video surveillance cameras? What's taking so long? And I have a hard time responding to them specifically with what is our plan to buy video surveillance cameras. In addition to that, for example, in South Modesto, there's like a local neighborhood watch coordinator, or kind of block captain leader, who brought to my attention just a ton of illegal dumping that happens in South Modesto, near her neighborhood. And she wanted to request a camera for video surveillance for that specific illegal dumping hotspot. And the response that she was provided was that it was added to a list and that staff is pursuing grant funding. And so then that caused me to kind of scratch my head thinking, okay, we're pursuing grant funding, but didn't we as a council go through a process designating sort of categories? I think we were calling them buckets of funding that we were setting aside to tackle specific problems. And I completely understand that we're going through a citizen participatory process called the Blight Abatement Advisory Committee, which is a city commission. I understand that. But I think that we need information. Well, I'll speak for myself. I need information as council. I think the council might benefit, unless there's any opposition to this, to just get a quick report back in one of the next two council meetings in December that are coming up, to give us a snapshot of what is available funding, what might be able to be purchased in the short term, and what might be able to be purchased in the longer term. Because even though we might have a really wonderful blight abatement plan and strategy that's going to get carried out, our neighborhoods are facing this illegal dumping every day. And so we definitely need something, to quote one of my neighbors, we need something yesterday. So that's my request. And I look forward to hearing back from staff as far as, or maybe just having, if the mayor or whoever can just place this on a future council meeting, hopefully real soon, so we can hear back about that. The other thing that I wanted to let everybody know before time runs out is that on Monday, I wanted to announce, on Monday, November the 29th, so this next Monday after Thanksgiving, the annual South Modesto Businesses United Christmas tree lighting is going to be occurring at, I'm going to say, approximately 6 p.m. And so everybody in the community is invited. All the council members are invited to please come out. It'll be a short event. There'll be hot chocolate and Mexican pastry, otherwise known as champurrado y pan dulce. Yes, and so it'll be a wonderful event. And then the following Wednesday, December the following week, Wednesday, December the 8th, is the annual South Modesto holiday posada, which is a posada is a Spanish word that means like sort of celebration, and that's happening Wednesday, December 8th, from I believe it's 6 p.m. to like 9 p.m. or until the gifts run out. And approximately 1,000 families receive toys for children. They receive a bag with groceries. Everybody gets tamales, pastry, hot chocolate, picture with Santa. It's a lot of fun. Everybody's invited. It's all completely free. And I've been just wanted to also add, I've been working with the county health department, and they will be providing on-site COVID vaccinations at this event. So it's a huge opportunity to also have a lot of folks that haven't yet been vaccinated receive their vaccine. There was one more thing as usual, and my memory failed me. I can't remember. Thank you.
Thank you for comments and reports. Do any other council members have any comments? Councilmember Wright.
Thank you, Mayor. I want to thank our city staff, especially Jalen French and Jessica Hill, moving forward on the Tivoli project out in East Modesto, a new housing project that's going in, and staff has been really working hard and moving this along with the developers, and hopefully first part of next year, we'll start seeing some dirt being moved out there. And I just want to thank staff for their hard work and just really moving this process forward. My hat's off to you. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Next, we have city manager comments and reports. Do we have any comments?
Just briefly, Mayor, just want to say happy Thanksgiving to everybody up here, all our council, mayor, and our city council, as well as our community and our city staff. I hope everyone gets a chance to enjoy the day with their family and friends, COVID safely, please, but just happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you very much. We appreciate that. So next on the agenda is new business. Item 13, consider approving submission of the fiscal year 2021 Federal Railroad Administration's Consolidated Rail Infrastructure and Safety Improvements Program grant application for funds to establish a quiet zone in the downtown area. And we will turn this over to Jalen French. Welcome.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Council. Jalen French, Director of Community and Economic Development. In our continued effort to improve the city, the downtown, and implement the downtown master plan, staff continues to look for opportunities to fund improvements that we would like to make. And so we did come across an opportunity. I'll be candid, a little later in the process than is ideal, a little later than we would have wanted to. But as we look at the downtown, quiet zones, and I'll explain those in a bit, quiet zones would provide some improvements really needed to help some of the uses in the downtown, and I will explain if this works. So per the Federal Railroad Administration, each train is required to blow their horn 4 times at every crossing. These horns are at 110 decibels, that is very loud. And they go out into the, kind of into the atmosphere there. Quiet zone improvements allow the opportunity to not blow the horn at every crossing. They're allowed to use discretion. It's improvements and such that better safety, and therefore the train doesn't have to blow their horn. So this would help things like residential downtown, restaurants, performing arts centers, those types of things. So staff came across a grant opportunity that we will discuss. And this doesn't appear to be working today, sorry. Okay, perfect. So this is not a new item or issue to the city or the council. Since about 2012, we've been looking at exploring opportunities to make such improvements. 2014, 2016 timeframe, there was some documents prepared culminating in a report to the city council highlighting 3 options on 6 crossings in and around the downtown, ranging in cost from $2.5 million to $3.9 million. In that time, of course, funding has always been the issue. It's a common issue, but it has especially been the issue with the quiet zone crossings. So you see on this exhibit, on this map, where those 6 crossings are located, again, in and around the downtown. So the grant opportunity that I have alluded to through the FRA, the Federal Railroad Administration, they've released funding for other improvements, but quiet zones as well. There is an application that is due later this week, right before, or is that after? Anyway, in a couple days. And there is a match requirement associated with this grant opportunity, a minimum of 20%. So over the last couple years, the FRA has provided grant opportunities for quiet zones and other improvements. We want to note here in the second bullet point that many of the improvements or grant awardees were in opportunity zones. Downtown Modesto is in an opportunity zone. So that is positive from our standpoint, and just we expect to hear in the next 4 to 5 months, should the council authorize staff to submit the grant. So I won't go into these too much. I'll explain broadly what quiet zone improvements are and not talk necessarily about each one. But the whole point of the train horn is safety, and so quiet zone crossings improve, or quiet zone improvements improve the safety for vehicles and pedestrians at each crossing. It's things like medians, it's things like enhanced crossing arms, enhanced signals, and horn noise towards the pedestrian and vehicle. Not just in the ambient air. So as was highlighted already, there is a minimum of a 20% match. We will recommend in the next slide an amount higher than that. Do want to mention, came across this a little later in the process than we would have liked, and trying to kind of secure some of the additional resources from private industry to reduce the burden on the general plan, or general fund, excuse me, is something that was important to us. Next slide. So what we did is we looked at the 6 crossings in the study that was done in 2016, and have narrowed it down to 5 crossing, leaving out the northernmost one, because the 5 are really in the bulk of in the core of the downtown. We have updated the cost figures because those were 2016 dollars. We've updated them to 2021 dollars, and you'll see the numbers in front of you. We coordinated with ACE. They are making improvements as part of the train coming in, and some of those improvements will be able to be leveraged to the improvements that we would make for ultimate quiet zone improvements, to the tune of nearly $200,000. So we are calling that an in-kind, lowering the total cost. So we're about $2.7 million in total cost. 20% would be about $560,000. We will recommend 30%, with the hope that the general fund is no more than 20%. So we will continue to work with our partners, the business community, and others to secure funding to limit the city's burden as much as possible. So 30% would be $800 and almost $7,000 against the cost that I just told you. We do have some flexibility at this time in terms of exactly where the money comes from, but we will explore a couple different options. We are continuing to explore the federal stimulus, the ARPA option. Guidelines have not been completed as of yet. We have had conversations with the hotel community to see what participation they would like. We've had positive conversations in that regard, as well as other downtown businesses. So the recommendation at this point is 30%. And I'd be happy to answer any questions that the council may have at this point.
All right, Councilmember Canoyer.
Some of the public is probably wondering why we have, when 20 is the minimum, why we went to 30, but we learned, I think, that if you give a little bit more, your chances are of getting the grant is better, and it's kind of like sweetening the pot.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Wright?
Yes, thank you for your presentation, Jalen. How many businesses are affected by the RIPA, would you say?
Yeah, that's a tough question to answer. There are many businesses in the downtown. The ones that are most affected are obviously the hotels, restaurants, entertainment type venues. But I don't have a number to share, but it's.
Have you had quite a few requests from businesses in the community about the noise level and what we can do about it?
Yes, we've had many comments, complaints, concerns expressed by the business community, but also the residential community in South and West Modesto in particular on this railroad. But yes, we continue to kind of communicate with our business community who shares this as a concern. Again, hotels being the primary example, the one who have discussed this issue with us the most.
And do you have the sense that these businesses are willing to help with some of the funding so we can make sure we get our grant?
Initial conversations appear positive,
Okay,
yes.
great. Thank you.
All right, Councilmember Zalaki?
Thank you, Mayor. Jalen, I'm curious about additional funding in the future. I've heard some things that the feds are potentially pretty significantly looking at some funding that could be coming down. Do you know what timing that would be?
Yeah, if I get your question right, so this grant has been around for a couple years, but I do know in the new infrastructure bill, they're going to fund it to a greater degree than it's been funded over the last couple of years for the next 5 years. There will be a significant investment in this area, specifically quiet zones, over the next 5 years as part of the infrastructure bill. Was that the question?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
that's what I've heard. And the number, I don't know if it's accurate. That's why I'm cautious. But it was in the like 1 billion.
Yes, that's also the number I heard. I think that's being ironed out a little bit, but that is also the number I've heard.
Quiet zones, same thing. I fully support what we're trying to do. Absolutely, fully support it. A lot of the impact is on District 4, which is my district, and I hear a lot. I actually hear the horns a lot too, and have felt helpless because you just can't change federal regulation that says they have to blow the horns so long as approaching up to a crossing. And so that happens on the little short line railroad that runs down Yosemite. That's, according to the GIS map, is actually in the county. But sound doesn't just stop at the one direction, it goes both directions. And those that live close to Yosemite and to the north, there's a lot of people, and a lot of people just to the south in the airport area that live with constant horns. And I'm asking that we don't stop here, but we work. It might be working with the county and coming up with a reasonable way of assisting one another, because it affects so many citizens in our city, of continuing this after we get this first phase done. We don't say it's that the job is complete. The job's only a little less than half complete if you look at the number of crossings, because there are a lot of crossings from, that would be D Street, about D Street all the way down to Claus Road, a number of crossings and significant housing, just as I said, north of that, all the way to Claus Road. And I hear it, and I'm a long ways from Claus Road. I'm a couple of miles from it.
Yep.
And so the reason I ask about the additional funding is the opportunity maybe to work and go after some of that additional funding and continue with quiet zones.
Yeah, that's a good comment.
All right, question, Councilmember Ricky.
Sorry. Just a quick question, Jalen. You mentioned that we might want to try to get through and submit it this year potentially. Is there an advantage to waiting to next year? Would we get more private funding or is this a one-time kind of grant? Like, do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, another good question. No, as was shared, I believe the infrastructure bill is funding these types of improvements over the next 5 years. Certainly, going next year would be beneficial to really secure and line up private funding. I don't think it necessarily precludes us from submitting this year, but yes, next year that would be another opportunity for the city.
All right. Any other questions from council members?
I want to wait till after, I want to wait till after we hear from the public.
For questions?
Just to speak on this.
Okay, great. Any comments from the public? I don't see anyone online. Yes, we have a. Yes, it would be great. Welcome because then we can all hear you and it's on the record.
I didn't know the protocol.
Sure.
I was just a little bothered by the money. It's a lot of money. Then he brought the infrastructure bill that just some guy passed. And I don't know if you've ever been to Airport District. There's a ton of holes. It's a high crime area. There's a lot of narcotics, methamphetamine, a lot of kids on the streets with no sidewalks. And we're worried about a noise. Does it bother? Yeah, I live around the area, but I can live with it. I am willing to go to every downtown, every business, and you brought a great question, I loved it, and say, hey, by the way, I heard that you're bothered by this noise, and you might possibly want to spend some money. We can use the money on other things, but the noise really bothers you. And then on to the next one, on to the next one. I can commit to that. And if I have to do it, I'll do it. But I was just listening, and I'm like, I wonder if they ever been down to the Airport District and seen the holes. Let's go downtown, 8th Street. A lot of traffic goes through it. People going to work, coming back from work. Have you gone through a pothole on that railroad? Maybe your wife, your daughter who's going to work to the Bay Area, going through there, the tire pops, the tire's wasted. Why not fix that instead of, using it for a noise? And I understand that. I totally do. I get it. But we need to let people know how this money is going to be spent. And we need to take care of our community. I guarantee you, I go to the south to the Airport District, and I'll ask every single member. I'll speak Spanish too. I'll ask them, hey, does the noise bother you? Do you want your pothole fixed? Or do you want a sidewalk for your child? Oh yeah, there's a lot of gang activity, a lot of northerners out here. That's a problem, huh? The shootings. Maybe we want to see more law enforcement around here, huh? Yeah. Anyways, that's all I got to say.
Thank you.
Interesting.
Yes, I see online Todd Aronson.
Good evening. Thank you, Mayor, council members, and city staff, of course, for your service and time. This is Todd Aronson, CEO of Visit Modesto, the city's official tourism agency. For the last 6 months, our team has been working on how to modify the train whistles in downtown and also along Yosemite on behalf of our partners in the lodging industry and city residents. It's a slow process as there are convoluted rules from the DOT and FRA. When we learned of the opportunity for the Economic Development Department to apply for a grant to have a quiet zone through downtown, we were very excited. The opportunity really is not just about lodging and the meetings industry. It's about a vibrant downtown where residential units can finally be developed by the businesses and also the businesses that support that residential growth. It's a game changer for the downtown entertainment district. It's also about creating a quality of life for residents. If you live near downtown, you know what I mean. I lived in the College District. I heard those whistles. I live in East Loma now. I know exactly what the prior speaker was discussing. And it's really important as a game changer for guests who return again and again. The economic powerhouse that follows the Quiet Zone program like this would be transformative for the city of Modesto through increased property value, development, through increased tax base, through increased visitation, and much, much more. Initial conversations with our lodging partners display overwhelming support, not just for the project, but committing tourism marketing district funds to this program. I'm certain the Downtown Modesto Partnership District members would feel the same and also commit funding, as their partners would also benefit, perhaps even the most, from this project. And note, this is not about the challenge of train whistles today, but it's really about the development and the impact for the future. Yes, let's pursue this grant. Let's commit resources to this grant, as the investment will pay back tenfold. Look at the other 50+ cities in California that have seen economic and lifestyle increases as a result. I'm certain not one of them regrets it, and many of them use general funds only for the project. We strongly encourage this process. We're thankful for the long-term view of this specific city council. And Councilmember Zalaki, perhaps we can discuss the Yosemite train whistle issue and some options after the holiday, because we've done a bunch of research so far. And to Councilmember Ricky, the commitment from the lodging industry and community allows Director French to take the bird in the hand approach while it's literally sitting right in front of us. While I'm here, I want to encourage everyone to take a look at getmocheer.com, see how Visit Modesto is supporting fun things to do, like Modesto on Ice, and dozens of local businesses throughout the holiday season. Thank you very much for your time, and have a wonderful Thanksgiving.
Thank you. Any other comments from the public? Welcome.
Madam Mayor, council members, my name is Jolene Daly, and I'm sad to be standing up here talking about $800,000 being spent on noise when I just spent the last 3 days trying to find $2,200 and $2,220 for children at Bret Hart Elementary School to have a cheer club and a skate club because they have no sidewalks. I live in Bill's district. I experience the same noise that everybody over there experiences. I think there's a lot more in Tony's district that we can do and spend this money on. It's sad to say. We can focus on other things in the community, sidewalks, like Janet said. If you've driven down those streets, I haven't driven in, I'm sad to say, on the south side in a long time until Monday morning when I delivered that check. To think about individuals in the entire community to be concerned about the noise and the thriving downtown business when they can't even afford to utilize those services, how many of those people actually get to come and experience that skate rink? It's great that it's there. We have to spend our money throughout the entire community, working with every individual, not catering just to the high-income people that can afford to go down and utilize the downtown area or go to these hotels or go to these restaurants. It floors me that we're going to spend almost $1 million to do something like that. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes?
Good evening, council members. Good evening, Mayor.
Welcome.
I hope everybody's fine and well. I'm public, sitting back there listening, and as they said, there's a lot more and better uses that we could put this money towards. Housing, the streets. Modesto seems to be wanting to pull everyone from everywhere to come here because we have this small town feel. And those trains have been going there for centuries. Those noises are part of that downtown feel. Those people that have been living in the downtown area, except for the new ones that bought up and shot the prices up that residents in Modesto can't even afford, they're not used to those noises. But the people that have been living there, they know those noises. And it seems to me that if the noises are there for safety, It's not the noise itself. If you're gonna fix it, you might wanna do something about the decimal sounds of it, because the train whistles are for safety. So you're saying that you're gonna jeopardize people's safety by lessening the whistles? And I'm not sure in the infrastructure what did you guys call it? Quiet sound? What that exactly means, I'm gonna look it up. But it seems to me that if he said you could put it off till next year. We have things right now, housing crises right now. And it's not just people that are unemployed. There are families out there with children, and they are working, living in their car. People that don't want to go to the shelter because they get their things stolen from the shelter. There are a lot more better uses that this money can go through than to stop the sound waves through the, and he said something about lowering for the cars. Sound carries. I don't know how you're gonna do that. Once it gets in the air permit, it carries. And the businesses downtown, they're making noise with all the music and the things that they're playing. They have their speakers outside. What about that noise? Those whistles are part of the ambiance, the small town feel that is getting bigger and bigger of Modesto. We keep pulling people here. You got people that have way more money than the people that are living here. And the people that are from here, residents, longtime residents, can't even afford to be here. And we're talking about spending $800,000 on noise level? We need to fix the streets. We need to put some sidewalks, especially over in West Modesto. West Modesto hasn't had any change in it for a very long time. I've been here since high school, and it's getting worse and worse over there. But you're building out that way, Pimmondale. You got that $1 million, whatever the heck it was over there, sign, and we still have parts of our town. You should be proud of West Modesto. That's where Modesto originated from. We need to build that up. You want to bring people here, showcase that part too. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments from the public? Huh?
Hello, Council Board. My name is D'Angelo Sanchez-Johnson, student at Modesto Junior College, post-science major, and I'm just happy to say that I am just patently just infuriatingly disgusted by spending $806,000 on what? A train whistle? A train whistle. And the train whistle is there to protect people's lives. I'm not sure what his name is, he talked about how it can improve the infrastructure to save people's lives from the train noises, make it safer, right? Well, let's look at that, for example. The noise tells people that a train is coming 4 times. What do we need money to build, let's say, like walls, cement, concrete, when we have a nice, proven, working system for whistles? Let me talk about some of the efforts in my community. I'm in Junior Canori's district, District 5. On Coffee Road, for example, there's a good amount of distance where there's like very few stoplights. There's people being killed on my street, being hit by vehicles going up to 60+ miles per hour. Nothing's been done about that. It's not a drive. A place where I go every single day to handle my business. Every day. There's been trench plates there since August. Velo construction's been done to fix that road. If those who don't know what a trench plate is or what it does, it's basically for roads to basically let people to drive on roads. They've been above ground for months. Nothing has been done about them. I've in fact seen people drive across the other side of the street to get around them because they hurt your tires, mess with your tread, the quality. I don't mind spending money, but I want to spend some money on something that matters. Over there, my community over here, I'm not sure what her name is, talked about how West Modesto has not been changed. She talked about how Bret Hart is needing money for their school programs. Why are we spending money on a train whistle, on a noise concern? We need to be building this community. West Modesto, South Modesto, even East Modesto is being neglected. And $806,000 for what? A train whistle? Some noises? Is just ridiculous. And anyone who wants to spend that much money on a train whistle, I just can't fathom it. And I'd like to bring my opponent here to bring statistics on how his new system would actually save lives and would actually be better than the system of 4 whistles that tells cars and pedestrians that a train is coming and you should get the hell out of the way. I like to see statistics, numbers, and data, and an actual time frame on when this structure could be built, realistically speaking. All I'm seeing about is money, 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 and no solutions for our city of Modesto. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any other comments from the public? Welcome.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, City Council members. My name is Vanessa Emo. I am the Director of Sales and Marketing for the DoubleTree by Hilton Modesto. We are fully in support of this effort. On a weekly basis, we get 20 to 40 complaints about the train noise. It has been a reason for why we have lost business and have had groups not want to come to be here in Modesto and hold their events. We believe that this would be a very valid and worthy way to spend this money, so that way we can capture more business. That business does equate to TOT tax, at least directly from our hotel. It's over $1 million a year. So I would just ask that you consider that as well. It is more than just our hotel. There are 22 other hotels that are also impacted in the area. And I thank you.
Thank you.
I had a question for her, if possible. Madam Mayor?
Oh, okay. Sure.
Do you happen to know, that there was a talk earlier about possible participation, or I'm just going to say it differently, possible financial money contribution from some of the businesses such as hotels to be able to help pay for this, to help offset, to help pay for like the city's for example, the city's possible $800,000 contribution. Do you happen to know potentially how much, like say the hospitality or hotel industry would be able to contribute? Is that something you can answer, or maybe the director of the Convention and Visitors Bureau?
Well, I won't speak on behalf of the other hotels, but I can assure you that the DoubleTree is interested in being a partner in this effort. In another role, I do chair the Modesto Tourism Marketing District Committee. I'm sure we will be adding that item to our agenda for our next meeting.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Any other comments from the public? Okay. Yeah, it's their time. Any other comments from the public? All right. We will take it back to council for comments. Tony Madrigal.
I just wanted to ask, if possible, if Madam Mayor, if you could reopen the public comment briefly. I'd like to hear from the an answer to my question, possibly from the director of the Convention and Visitors Bureau, Mr. Todd Aronson, if he might be able to speak to a ballpark estimate of how much could the hotel industry contribute, or not the hotel industry, the hospitality industry contribute, if he happens to know. That would be a good figure to
Okay.
to know.
Yeah, I'm just concerned about the dialogue back and forth and everyone needs to have the same amount of time.
Oh, yeah,
So I'm wondering if Jalen, if you could respond to that, staff could respond to that?
May I ask the same question differently?
Sure.
And I think we'll end up with the same result. If Jalen could, is it even feasible for you to conceptualize a percent, or what, is it feasible to collectively have the Modesto hotel industry, the business community that Todd Aronson referred to, and other entities that could benefit from this? Is it conceivable that they could come up with the 20 to 30% match for this grant opportunity, therefore relieving the general fund and allowing that money to go to these other projects that the community members reference?
Yeah.
Potentially.
Feasible.
I was trying to get at that also. Thank you.
I know, we're saying the same thing.
Yes. Anything is feasible. We do have a grant application deadline in 3 days. I do know that Todd Aronson has had conversations with the hospitality group,
I do know that we have a tourism marketing district that can levy fees or collect revenue in some manner. That is not fully utilized, and I think there's been initial conversations about securing additional funding from that TMD for this purpose and then future purposes. I can't speak to the exact dollar figure. I don't think it's been approved by the board, but I do think that is, some portion is feasible.
So I think to kind of further elaborate on that, I think part of the challenge that we have right now is that we're in this kind of quick deadline turnaround time that we're having to accommodate. We're recommending the 30% funding level at this time in order for us to establish the grant application. We have to put something down. The MT, or the Convention and Visitors Bureau, has not had a chance to vote on this, so we can't count on their money in the application. It would be our goal that we front the 30%, we get these agreements from the private sector that would lower the general fund contribution that is being made. Because that is what we're doing today, is we're committing general funds to this project. My goal would be to find offsetting revenue, that when we accept that grant application, we have funding from other various sources that would then limit the general fund contribution at that point. Does that kind of make sense? Because we have an application we have to submit. We want to submit higher than the minimum requirements, and the only place we can do that at this point is through the general fund carryover. And so that's why our recommendation is built the way it is today.
If I may just add, Madam Mayor, about more information about possible sources other than general fund as well.
It's comment period.
Oh,
from
thank
the-
you.
Yeah.
I
comment period
just
from
also
the
wanted to
council.
remind.
So this is your turn.
Thank
Go
you.
for it.
I just wanted to also remind my colleagues on the council and let the public know that in the past, in the recent months this year, you know, I've also been advocating at the state level for our League of California Cities, which is, it's like our association of all the cities of California. And they have a very powerful political voice in Sacramento with the state Senate and the state assembly. And I've been advocating for them to pursue legislation and new laws for funding next year, to also specifically provide state funding that can also go to help cities pay for these type of infrastructure improvements that affect their local economies. They have committed, they're going to make this one of the priorities for trying to find funding at the state level to bring back to the city level. And that's also another potential funding source. I understand completely the, you know, the time crunch that we're in. I've heard back from some of the hospitality industry, hotel industry leaders, that there's potential for the hospitality industry as a whole to come up with as much as $500,000 to help offset, you know, this upfront contribution. And there's various ways to do it. Some cities, for example, they find ways to pay for things such as health insurance for the workers in hotels and restaurants. And it appears on your bill as a small little additional charge, kind of like sales tax. Other cities, for example, could find other way, like an example is something similar to that happening here in Modesto, so that over a period of time, each year, there's payments made to help pay back, for example, some of this upfront cost. I did want to say that when I first got elected to the city council back in 2013, I want to share, I went to introduce myself to different businesses in downtown, including hotels and restaurants, especially in the downtown area. And I asked, you know, what's your number one, what are your top concerns? How can we help? And one of the biggest complaints was the train noise, whether it's hotels that face customers that want to check out because those people don't live here, they're visiting. Or whether it's, for example, the big hotel we have here, saying that they've lost 2 or 3 or 4 conferences and therefore business is down. And as we try to improve our local economy so that our businesses which pay taxes can help provide the kind of tax funding that we need to provide the kind of services that we need, which I completely agree with. We need to find ways to improve our infrastructure, to fix our roads. This is something that is about protecting our existing jobs that we have here in our local businesses, in addition to also finding a way, protecting that revenue that continues to come to the city so that we can pay for the things that we need to pay for. To be very specific, I don't believe that we should take and either we spend it on this or either we spend it on that kind of approach. It cannot be an either or approach to things. We need to take an and approach. Yes, we can fix the community problems that people are facing in their neighborhoods, and we can also provide these solutions for our local economy that affect whether people want to come to Modesto and spend their money here when they visit, because we need them to come to Modesto and spend their money here, because that contributes to our local tax base, especially our sales tax base, especially our hotel tax base. And so being able to say, and we're going to do this, and we're also going to do this, and we're going to fund it, because we're also exploring multiple funding sources, is a forward-looking approach to try to solve this problem that is going to continue to be here for many more years if we don't do something about it now. We do have a I dare to call it a once-in-a-generation opportunity to be able to have some of this funding that is even provided from the federal government to possibly offset some of this upfront investment. Make no mistake, I know that neighborhoods are telling us we need help with our specific problems. And there's some specific problems, such as sidewalks or holes, that, for example, if they are in county areas, we as a city cannot go into a county area and say, we're going to pave a sidewalk here, because it will literally be us as a city using city money in a county area when it's the responsibility and jurisdiction of a county to provide sidewalks in those areas. And believe me, I've worked with county staff whenever there's an opportunity to provide, for example, safe routes to school sidewalks, like, for example, specifically in South Modesto off Crow's Landing Road and Glen Road, Glen Avenue, and Dallas Street, to try to encourage, work with, advocate with the county to provide more sidewalk area in the highly trafficked areas. Every time there's an opportunity, specifically for the county to try to improve specifically sidewalks, I'm there. And I know that the neighbors are there, and we try to get as much as we can from one specific project, for example. In addition to that, we do have businesses that have been telling us for years, this is a problem, this is affecting my business. I provide jobs, help us solve this problem. And then on top of that, we've gotten to the point to where we're having industry leaders, specifically business owners, saying, yes, we will help chip in to help pay for and offset that funding. But we as our city government can help provide that upfront funding and then work out the agreements that our city manager talked about to get repaid back over a period of time. That is an and solution. It's an and approach. I'm not saying I'm going to now ignore or forget about the neighborhood issues that are affecting us every day. I talked about them just a little while ago when we were talking about illegal dumping of trash, for example. And so I commit to continue to push for the neighborhood solutions that we need and that I've heard some of the people here talk about. Because I live in the same neighborhood too. I live in the west side. I see the illegal dumping of trash. I see if a sidewalk is broken, and I try to report it as immediately as possible. Why? Because we as the city of Modesto have dedicated funding to fix those specific problems in the city areas where we have the authority to go in and fix them, but not in a county area. I'm sorry if I'm repeating.
That's all right. I see Councilmember Ricky's hands raised.
I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself, but this is definitely...
You about to wrap it up?
Yes, I'm about to. Anyway, this is definitely an investment in the future, in the continued protection of our city economy and our local jobs, in addition to creating a downtown experience in this specific area where more businesses want to come and say, yeah, I want to build there. I want to open up a business there. This is a nice downtown. This is a nice area. I don't want them to continue to have one more reason why we don't want to do business in Modesto. Modesto is open for business, and we need to continue to keep it open for business because that's what helps protect the rest of the needs in our community so that we can pay for it. Okay, I'll stop.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Ricky?
Yeah, Jalen, I'm sorry to ask another question here, man, but just a quick question here. You know, we heard a lot of people in the comments talking about sidewalks in the county pockets and that kind of stuff. Am I correct that we're going to be coordinating with the county about a $40 million budget to try to upgrade sidewalks, sewers, and stuff like that in the county pockets in the coming years?
Yes, the county has allocated up to $50 million, 50 of their ARPA funding to address county pockets. Additionally, our staff has secured federal earmark monies to the tune of $5 million to go alongside what the county is doing. So $55 million total.
So it would be probably, I feel like it'd be a little disingenuous to say that it's not a big priority of the city to try to work on these sidewalks, sewers, and county pocket problems, right? We're really kind of on top of this. So I'm not sure that the train, crossing and the sidewalks and sewers, I don't think it's the same issue. I don't think it's the same pots of money. But thanks for that. The other thing I want to say is I like Tony's description of this in terms of it being an and approach. I wish we saw more of it from the city. It's kind of a bold approach. And if a city like Modesto, if our city wants to get ahead, if we want to be a great city, if we want to be a city that people, really want to come to, we have to take some risks. We have to make bold decisions. And what we're hearing here in our business community, you heard it from the head of Visit Modesto. You heard it from a hotelier tonight, that they could bring more business to our city. More business means more jobs and more money for the people that live here. If we do this kind of thing, so I think it's something we should really look at. And the thing is, I've been working for this staff with this staff for a year now, and if I know one thing about these guys, they're going to do everything they can to reduce the stress on the general fund money, and they would do that anyway. But they're especially going to do it after hearing from the public saying that this is something that they're concerned about. So I guess, and the last thing is based on what we're hearing from the hoteliers in Visit Modesto, this is a priority for them. I'd be shocked if they don't raise, $500,000 to support this. So those are my comments.
All right, thank you. Any other comments from council members? Seeing none, this is a resolution approving the submission of the fiscal year 2021 Federal Railroad Administration's Consolidated Rail Infrastructure and Safety Improvements Program grant application for funds to establish a quiet zone in the downtown area and authorizing the city manager or designee to execute the necessary documents for the grant application.
Motion to approve?
Second.
And can I just make a clarification that this is with a 30% match? Can you include that as part of your motion so we can amend the resolution accordingly?
And if that's included, sorry to jump in, Mayor, the resolution, just for the record, if that's made, where it states the first, now therefore be it resolved by the council, at the end of that paragraph, it would just be adding with a 30% local match contribution.
With a 30% local match contribution. Revised.
All right, so I have a motion from Councilmember Wright and a second from Councilmember Canoyer.
I second the motion with the amendment.
All right, thank you very much. I'll ask the city clerk to call the roll for this item.
Councilmember Canoyer?
Yes.
Councilmember Wright?
Aye.
Councilmember Scudia-Brayton?
Aye.
Councilmember Madrigal?
Aye.
Councilmember Ricky?
Aye.
Councilmember Zalaki? Mayor Zavala?
Aye. So the motion carries unanimously. Next on the agenda, thank you, Jalen. Appreciate your presentation and everyone else that participated. Matters too late for the agenda? Are there any matters to discuss? Too late for the agenda? All right, seeing none, I am calling the meeting of this city council to be adjourned.